Coming up on a live edition of NHRA Today, we'll have first-round coverage from the 26th Annual MOPAR Parts Nationals, plus updates from earlier racing action. From Englishtown, New Jersey, it's a half hour of live drag racing action on this edition of NHRA Today. It is an absolutely beautiful day here at the Northeast home of Horsepower Raceway Park. Hi, everyone. I'm Steve Evans. Only in this time zone do we have the luxury of bringing you the first round of Top Fuel action live, so I'm not going to waste any time except to tell you we'll be back later today at 3:30 Eastern Time, another half hour NHRA Today live, and then 5 to 6, T&N Motorsports presents the final rounds live in Dolby Surround Stereo. So hook up the woofers and the tweeters. And speaking of making some noise, NHRA, light them up. Here's Bob Pry.
Steve, Christy Todd Whitman would tell you it's weather like this that makes tourism the biggest industry here in New Jersey. She's the governor, by the way. He's not. He's the driver of the Smoke and Joe's Fuel Funny Car, Gordy Bond. And Gordy, welcome to the booth here today. Top Fuel and weather is going to be a big story here today. They qualified great. Dixon with a 466 qualifying the other night. This weather's going to make it a whole new ballgame, though.
This is going to do it, Bob. This weather is absolutely, like Steve says, incredible here. It's something different than we had Friday night, but you will see some racing today. And what Dixon did the other night, we may not see it today, but we will see some great drag racing.
And your teammate, Jim Head, will have the dubious distinction of running that #1 qualifier in the opening pair. The first pair is going to feature that man, Connie Coletta, the American International Raceway Airways car, as he gets set to go against Joe Amato. Earlier this week, came out with a brand new Murph McKinney car, did Connie, had some chassis problems, did some welding back then. They tell me they really like the way this thing feels now, Gordy.
They really do. I was over there after those 2 runs Friday when I ran 80s both runs, 480s both runs at Friday, and they had some weak chassis points on that car, and incredible to see them pull out the stuff and fix the car in the pits, and it looks just fine.
Joe Amato looking good with the Valvoline car. So far this year has not been a banner year for Joe Amato, although he loves this racetrack. He's been in the finals 6 times here. He has won it 3 times. Connie so far this year, Gordy, it's hard for me to believe, has not won a round of competition.
We almost know what that feels like, but he has. That's why they changed cars. I mean, they've been concentrating on Scott's car, and they've been working on this new thing for Connie, and it should be just fine over here. But it's been frustrating for a lot of us this year.
These are the number 8 and 9 qualifiers. Connie had lane choice. He takes the lane nearest the cameras. And just like we saw last year, up in smoke on the starting line goes Joe Amato, and Connie runs 4.99, 275 miles per hour, and gets the win, his first round victory of the year. Gordy, I'm going to ask you, and I know it's probably too early to tell, smoke from Amato's car, reaction of the car, or the track?
Right now, I think it's the car. They struggled last week and did not make the show in Memphis, and he had a couple of good shots here, some 480s, but it's the race car at this point. It may be the track later on today, but right now it's the race car.
Boy, that surround sound must sound great as we take a look at the Budweiser King, the king of speed, a brand new track record here in qualifying as the Budweiser King put a 309 mile per hour run up on the board to take the mark away from Corey Mack that was set just 24 hours prior. He will take on Pat Dakin, who actually out-qualified the Budweiser King. Pat Dakin's got to be an interesting story here, Gordy. How can a guy like that, apparently an independent team, come out and out-qualify a very highly financed car like Kenny Bernstein?
Funny you should ask. An independent team like that doesn't run a lot, similar to Mark Oswald over on our side, in the funny car side. They don't run a lot. They have a tune-up from probably 2 years ago and probably some parts that are 2 years old. And right now, a lot of the high finance teams are having some clutch disc problems, and didn't surprise me that Dakin ran a 479 over there, and he's got lane choice, and right now and probably some old parts that may just get him down there first.
Pat Dakin's been running at this racetrack a long while with the Jim Bookers, the Dale Funks of years ago. He knows this Raceway Park. Kenny Bernstein, the king of speed. Another 300-mile-per-hour run the other night in qualifying. He's now done it at 30 straight races. Up in smoke this time on the far lane, and it is Kenny Bernstein, the Budweiser King, 486. Another 300-mile-per-hour shot as the king of speed advances into round number 2. Right up in smoke off the starting line, Pat Dakin. If you're into statistics, 1166, only 84 miles an hour. More Top Fuel coming up.
NHRA Today is brought to you by Castrol Syntec, the full synthetic motor oil that protects in ways other oils can't. And by MOPAR, Chrysler Corporation Parts, and the Chrysler Plymouth Dodge Truck, Jeep, and Eagle dealers who sell and install them.
Welcome back, everyone. We're live just 1 hour south of the Big Apple, New York City, the Mopar Parts Nationals. For more Top Fuel action, here again is Bob Fry and Gordy the Golden Throat Bonnet.
Hey, speaking of Top Fuel, folks, don't forget to tune in this afternoon at 4 Eastern Time for Win, hosted by Rusty Wallace. This week featuring NHRA Winston Top Fuel champion Eddie Hill, right here on TNN Motorsports. Eddie's going to be a no-show here. Golden Throat, he did not qualify either for this tough field.
He did not. It was again. That was a real surprise to all of us. His stuff's been coming back very good this year, and we were all surprised when he did not make it last night.
A good look at Lee Beard, the man that makes Corey Mack one of the most feared drivers in the sport, coming off back-to-back wins, 8 consecutive round wins for the McDonald's Top Fuel car. Under the guidance of Joe Gibbs, he's taking on Doug Herbert, one of his rare appearances. Herbert qualified 15th. If Corey Mack doesn't smoke the tires, it could be a long quarter-mile run for Doug Herbert. Herbert very, very slow to stage. That's a pretty good old drag race there as Corey Mack goes 482, 305 miles per hour, and advances into the next round, and that will set up a matchup. First pair determined, Corey Mack and Kenny Bernstein into the next round of competition. That is 9 straight round wins for Corey Mack. And Gordo, that's tough to do in any fuel class.
Tough to do, and I think all of those were over 300 miles an hour. And what we saw here was the thing whisked the tires. Lee's car whisked the tires on the way out, and you can see it black tracked right to the finish line at 305 miles an hour. And it's, again, that's in the bell housing, and nobody does it better than Lee right now.
Good look at Corey Mack down there at the far end of the racetrack, the McDonald's Top Fuel driver. Just does a great job in driving that race car as Corey Mack has now gone into the semis and 9 straight wins. Little congrats and a pat on the back from Doug Herbert and the Snap-on Tools machine. More Top Fuel cars coming up. Don't go away.
And now, Red Wing Shoes wants to take a moment to tell you who's hot in the world of drag racing. The First United Methodist Church in Oklahoma City, located across from the Federal Building blast site, suffered severe damage, including the destruction of its van. Pennzoil Top Fuel racer Eddie and Ursi Hill recently presented a $14,000 check to Pastor David Collins. The check covers the difference between the discounted cost of a 15-passenger van as quoted by a local dealer. The Hills were looking for a way to get involved with helping victims of the bombing.
Some people that are hurting that might possibly not have gotten any help any other way, so it's a way to give something back. God's been awful good to us.
Our congratulations to Eddie and Ursi Hill. And be sure to keep watching next week when Red Wing Shoes will once again tell you who's hot in the world of drag racing.
Promotional consideration has been provided by Fruit of the Loom T-shirts, sweatshirts, and sports shirts, the official activewear of NHRA.
We have got more live Round 1 Top Fuel action from the Mopar Parts Nationals. Again, Bob Fry and Gordy Bonin.
And we've got more racing this afternoon right here on TNN, the Meridian Advantage 200 live. It's Busch Grand National Racing from Nazareth, PA. Join Ralph Shaheen and a cast of thousands at 1 p.m. Eastern right here on TNN, the Nashville Network. Great look at Larry Dixon. 2 wins already on the season. Brand new national record with the Miller Genuine Draft car, 466. His first #1 qualifying spot of the year right here, taking on your teammate, Jim Head, in the Smokin' Joe's car. All he's got to do to take out Dixon is pick up 3/10 of a second. Gordo, nothing to it.
Nothing to it. Mixed emotions here, Bob. I mean, Jim, we got to go with the teammate, but Larry does an outstanding job for Don Perdomo over there, and it's just an extension of what happened last year when West got that car right where he wanted, got snaked the #2 spot last year in the Winston points, and plugged in the best driver they could find, and they got one. But we got to hope for Jim, and there are some miracles.
Great look from the onboard camera on the Smokin' Joe's team. Let's see if Jim Head has a surprise up his sleeve for Larry Dixon. Nope. Might have some oil dry up his sleeve. 483 for Dixon, 289.48 miles per hour. It's kind of tough to say. You get a little blasé about these things. Guys down there kind of shrugging their shoulders and saying, oh, it's a 483. Might have to shoot that dog.
Only 483. Is that something? Again, see the black tracks right to the lights. I mean, Wes has got that car on the edge, and it's just conservative enough for the first round.
And it was interesting that they had lane choice, and they picked that side of the racetrack, the far side, away from the cameras. There was probably so Rusty Wallace, the host of the Win Show, was down there watching to get a good close look at it. Jim Head had the chute tangled up at the end of the race course, but Gordo, that was probably the least of his problems.
The least of it, yeah. His problem started, again, where he qualified, and then about half track.
That's the #3 qualifier, the reigning NHRA Winston champ, the American International machine, Scott Coletta. But Scott has yet to pick up a win this season. If he's going to do it right here, he's going to have to outrun Andy Woods at the wheel of the Head Anatom Sportswear machine. Scotty's going to pick up a win, but I'll tell you what, Andy Woods has been running well, Gordo.
He has, so. They've got that car. I mean, it qualified 491, but it did go over 300 miles an hour. I think it's been over 300 a couple times now. And with Andy in there and with Tim Farrell, the new crew chief, they're going the right direction.
Even though Scotty's looking for his first win of the season, he qualified very well at 474s. You take a look right in there at Andy Woods. Scotty's team getting a little boost here, and we would like to say hi to the newest fan of that team, Ashley Marie Oberhofer, daughter born last Sunday to crewman Jim Oberhofer and his wife Tammy. Just really nice folks, and that's another new drag racing fan, hopefully watching live sports here on TNN. Scotty's car scares me. I'll tell you what, you look over in the other lane, since Indy of 93 all the way through 94, Gordy, I think he was the one car that consistently came up and was a threat to win every race he was in.
He was. I mean, he's an excellent young driver, and we've seen what Dick LaHaye can do with some money. I mean, Dick was a bad player before he got some money from the Miller minor camp, and now over here, no stopping him.
And a former champion right here. It's Scott and Andy Woods. Andy thinking upset. Wow. If that track were 5 feet longer, we would have had that upset. Scott holds on, 496, 234, engine going that away. Andy Woods, 499, 280 miles per hour as the chute slow them both down at the top end of the racetrack, but that was as close to an upset here in the opening round of competition as we have had. Scott Coletta advances. There's more coming up.
Castrol presents the GTX Pipeline, the latest news from the world of drag racing.
You know, if things go right for English racer Steve Reed, who's coming up his second consecutive alcohol title at the recent Australian Nationals, he will be soon racing internationally in Top Fuel.
I've got a company here looking into sponsorship, ready to try and do something for a full season next year. We all know the sort of budgets that you need to do that sort of thing, but at the moment we're concentrating mainly on Australia and Europe. We've just been over here. We bought one of Larry Minor's, the old McDonald's car. Well, old McDonald's car. It's only done 4 races, so We're shipping that back to Australia this week, ready to run the last 4 meetings there. I'm also over here looking to buy a complete operation ready to go to Europe and run the European season, which starts at the end of May.
Reed has already won alcohol races in several different countries and went to the final round of the 1992 Winston Select Finals and NHRA competition.
Welcome back. You look at the Travers Tool Machine. Blaine Johnson slowing down at the far end of Old Bridge Township Raceway Park. He just punched out Mike Brotherton, 489, 298 miles per hour to take out Michael Brotherton. We wanted to show you that whole thing, but hey, we got to pay some bills, folks. This is America. Blaine Johnson climbing out down there at the top end. It's been a little struggle for them since the start of the season, Gordy. They came out and ran very well at the opening part, but they've had some problems getting the car down the racetrack the last 3 races.
Yeah, they have. Again, it's not uncommon with what's happening with in the clutch department these days until we get this clutch disc problem sorted out, and you'll hear more about that later, I'm sure. But for start of the season, they had some old parts, and they were running very well.
Yes, they did. Blaine Johnson, who always ran well here in the alcohol dragster category, has advanced. We've got Dixon against Connie in the next round. Corey against Kenny Bernstein. Scott Coletta has also advanced into the next round of competition. Well, we got some oil on the racetrack down there. Blaine Johnson advances into the next round. Let's join he and Steve Evans at the far end of the racetrack.
Blaine, a 489, not the quickest run in the history of drag racing, but safe, and you won.
Yeah, it felt like a good, nice, smooth pass. You know, that's what we wanted to do, was get down to the other end of the track and pick off that wind light, and that was what we did this round.
And something very important, Jeff, pan over, show them the motor. They don't look a lot cleaner or drier than that big Hemi.
How about that? A good win. They're all good wins, I guess, but when everything stays where it's supposed to, that makes it even better. So Blaine Johnson has gone into that next round of competition. Everything's pretty much going according to plan here this round, Gordy. Kenny Bernstein was number 10 and beat Pat Dakin number 7, but I don't think we can call that an upset.
Nah, I don't think so. On this last one with Blaine and with Brotherton, we saw on the starting line, Brotherton's car looked like it had a cylinder out even before he put it on the high side, before he staged, and it looked like it may not have made it down there, and the fuse is a little short, as we see they're cleaning it up right now.
The highly regarded NHRA Safety Safari, which was featured on that wind show with Rusty Wallace, their inaugural show early this season. Nobody does it better, but this is the fact of life. You go out there, somebody oils the track, you got to clean it up. The lanes don't seem to have really been a factor here, I don't think, in this first round. We've had fast cars on both sides of the track, Gordy.
No, track looks gorgeous, even from up here, and it's throw everything you have at it in either lane, and right now it's in the minds of the crew chiefs. They've got the racetrack on both sides. I don't think there's a lane choice problem here right now.
We should mention when Larry Dixon established that new national record on Friday night at 466, he picked up $40,000 from the Slick 50 folks in the Slick 50 World Record Club. And you could read all about that in National Dragster. Here's Steve to tell you more.
And here's the latest issue. Look at that picture of Gary Clapshaw after winning his first ever funny car title at Memphis 2 weeks ago. So typical of the great drag racing coverage in the greatest magazine in this sport, which you only get by joining NHRA. For $52 a year, you get 48 issues of National Dragster, a pen, a patch, a decal, a rule book, more stuff than the mailman can tote. And if you call the number on your screen right now, I'll make sure they throw in your choice of, absolutely free, the Diamond P Video Drag Racing 94, this great-looking NHRA membership T-shirt. So make that call, and if it's great sportsman action you're looking for next weekend, check out Division 1 and Division 7. But remember, make that call and join NHRA.
We have a winner. Tommy Johnson in the Mopar car advances. He just punched out Shelly Anderson. I mean that figuratively, 488 at 300 miles per hour. Promotional consideration has been provided for and a fee paid by this special offer from Diamond P.
If you find yourself not using your VCR as much as you used to, get a copy of And They Walked Away For from Diamond P. You'll burn the bearing slap out of that sweetheart. You can't get enough of And They Walked Away For. Crashes, spin, flips from every form of motorsports, every venue imaginable. And the thing every driver has in common is they all walk away. This is the kind of motorsports tape I want to own, that I want my kids to watch. There's some others on the market. I don't particularly care for them. Nobody gets hurt in And They Walked Away For. Bob Fry?
Next pair of race cars, it'll be Mike Dunn, the La Victoria car, against the kid, Ron Capps. Gordy, a lot of people are talking about Larry Dixon and Corey Mack and the way they're running, I think this car, Darrell Gwynn, the La Victoria machine, is going to be a player in the Winston Championship this year.
That has you're talking about the fresh new guys. I mean, they're talking a lot, but this car with Mike in it has been running just about as well as the rest of those guys, and they're sneaking right up there, and they're right up there in the point.
Frank Bradley, a former winner here at this event. Darrell Gwynn, his wife Lisa, at home in Florida. Can't give us any of that cold weather's excuses here this weekend. It's just delightful. Talked to Mike Dunn right before the first round began, and Frank Bradley, very optimistic. And meanwhile, the Roger Prim crew with Ron Capps aboard, they got a couple local kids here this weekend. They do a great intern program with schools in the area. They got Chris Martirano, Cherokee High School down in Marlton, New Jersey, on the pit crew this weekend. It's a great program. Good look at Jerry Gwynn. They moved the La Victoria Salsa car up. Right now, the weather might be a bit hotter than the Salsa, and Mike Dunn wants to be hot, wants to keep pace with the leaders in the points chase. It's Capps and Dunn, final pair for round one. Can you say Salsa? 493, 294.21. Mike Dunn goes into the next round. A great first round live here on TNN. Join us later this afternoon at 3:30 p.m. for more racing action.
NHRA Today has been brought to you by MOPAR, Chrysler Corporation Parts, and the Chrysler Plymouth, Dodge Truck, Jeep, and Eagle dealers who sell and install them. NHRA Today is a presentation of Diamond P Sports.